Welcome to the Water and Sewer Commission. If someone would like to make a motion to accept the October 4th minutes, we'll go ahead.
I move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. So second? Second. So moved. So we'll get started our meeting. The Cisso pump station, Mike, you showed us some photos of that and you talked to the sister. You want to just give us an update?
Yeah, so where we are right now is they cleaned up, they did a bunch of work in the vault, the pump station vault, it's underground. They added a dehumidifier, which will help keep everything dry and condensation not ruining panels and electrical equipment. Their electrician is scheduled to be up there this week, I believe, cleaning up some wiring that's not used anymore, wiring up another, their spare pump. We're gonna start looking into, they're gonna do the backup generator, so they can just bring one down and put it in and have it plug on a post outside. So that is going well. It needs some attention and some TLC in there, and a little more redundancy, and we're going to be working on some other things with that too. We're trying to get the new, I went up to put the new water meter in, the one that's cellular based, and I couldn't get the water to shut off. There's 2-inch gate valves in there, and Donnie Davis, their plumber, is going to meet with me. We're going to schedule a time, hopefully next week, to get up there and get things. I didn't want to start messing around with too much stuff and have a valve break in the off position. And so we'll have their plumber on hand to help us out with that.
Now, is that set up for the fire department still? No.
Well, it's probably still set up, but
It's the same thing
you're mixing potential contamination. So
It's a total cross connection, which we don't want to we don't want to use.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Because I know we used to have practice up there and it's not so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Succession plan. We briefly talked about it, but you want to just.
Yeah, I just sent another copy of it. I've been kind of just throwing some things at it, and I sent it to Mike Canales for his critique on it. And Tony and I and him met on it last week or the week before. So I'll hopefully get that off the DEP this week. It's pretty well done, and then I can send it, a copy to you guys, or bring them to the next meeting, or however we want to work it. But
Yeah, John, you
Yeah, I'm going to ask you what that is.
Yeah, Mike, why
Succession.
don't you-
so what the succession plan is, in November of last year, we had a DEP sanitary survey, which they do every 2 or 3 years, and they go through everything: water storage, our treatment plant, our budgeting, every aspect, income, expenses. And one of their main concerns is due to the fact that we are water and wastewater licensed operators, is that Mark, Tony, and I are all going to be retiring at a pretty close time, especially Mark and I. So they want a succession plan on how we are going to replace the operators in the water department mainly.
I see.
Because it takes quite a while to get water licenses now, the way the DEP and the Division of the Professional Licensure has made prerequisite classes. You can't just jump in and take the 3 or the 4. You have to take the 1 and then the 2 and then the 3. And it's costly, it's time consuming. So, and there's multiple licenses to obtain. So if we were to hire somebody brand new, a younger guy that doesn't have any licenses, it's quite a few years before they'll even have.
So how much time are you looking at?
At least, well, if we got a person with no licenses.
No, I mean, how long do you think you're going to be around?
I have about 8.5 to 9 years. I can get my full. So at
Isn't
50.
that enough time to?
Oh, yeah.
Get somebody
Yeah,
in
so
training?
that's where we got all the steps laid out. And,
So you got to hire someone soon.
yeah,
You got to train them. You got to get a.
there's a lot to learn.
Sure.
And we are dually licensed, so they have to learn the wastewater as well. So,
And that's why one thing also is we have Marky. Marky has multiple licenses, but I think to step up to where you guys are, he's going to need additional licenses.
Yes.
Yeah, he will. He'll need to get he has a grade 3M wastewater. He'll need a grade 4M, which he can get.
You think, is he going to do that?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
I mean, I don't know if we need encouragement from the board. I think he will just do
it's gonna help benefit his retirement.
Yeah, financially, for sure. Yeah.
And he already has his treatment too, which that's all he needs. I have the 3, so the secondary operators can have the grade below. And he is in full status, so he can be the secondary treatment and secondary distribution operator. And all he has to do is he's got to go get his D2, which is the distribution. He has his 1 now because our system is rated at a D2. So he just has to go get his D2 and then he'll get his full status because he's been with us so long. So, so he to get his M4 and his D2, which we've been talking about recently. So he's gonna.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to Clint the other day. We had this Williams alumni thing up at the Sportsman Club, and he was telling me that Dean, Tracy and John's son, is working down in Great Barrington, the treatment plant down there.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, he's working down there, wastewater plant.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Interesting.
Oh, I thought he was still mowing lawns at Tangwood.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I thought he went to their cemetery crew down to Great Barrington.
Did he?
That's what I heard, yeah. And then
well,
he must have taken another step.
according to the Gazette, he's moved there. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Town meeting articles, the progress of different things that were voted on at the town meeting, the roof painting and different things. How are things coming along?
Roof painting is, second coat is being applied in between rainstorms. I know
Done that in August, huh?
the primer coat is just about, I know the primer coat's all done and he's on the second coat of the top coat. So, pressure washed with all the stuff that they use to get the grime off, some special stuff that they use for pressure washing for roofing and painting, and the primer and the second coat's in play right now. We are still trying to schedule a kickoff meeting with Dave Prickett Engineering to do our 20-year master plan for the water system. I got a bunch more documentation to him, some other financials and other stuff he was looking for, system-wise, distribution system-wise, and treatment plant. So we should be having a meeting pretty soon on that. I think I mentioned we already got the trailer. The electrical stuff that I need done by our in-house, not in-house, but our vendor, our electrical vendor, who was actually on site today, for the turbidity meter that we have to put in for DEP, for the combined filter effluent before treatment. All the equipment is in. We went over about a week and a half ago. He came up and we went over all the needs that we need from them. There's quite a bit of work electrically to do and running conduits and whatnot. So, trying to think of what the bathymetry, we have to wait for the leaves to come down before they can get out on the reservoir with their boat. And
Didn't we talk about doing something with the flow of water coming from the?
yeah, the pump as turbine. I've contacted Weston and Sampson on that because they were the ones that I was in that class with that day. And he's the engineer that gave me that budget number of 10,000. I think we budgeted for it. I've emailed him a couple times and we've been emailing back and forth, but we don't have any real date set for him to get on that. But it's on the radar. It's on my list.
Yeah, there's no push. It's just,
Yeah.
okay, it's there. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony?
Park Street Pump Station update. The contract has been awarded, signed by the town, signed by the contractor, Raymakers, and should be a construction meeting coming up in the next, pre-construction meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks, but I don't think they're going to break ground till spring. I think this winter will just be submittals and, I've heard through the grapevine that obviously the chain, the chain, stuff is like some stuff is 12 months out still, some of the components that they're going to have to use. So they want to get started on that part of it. And then I was kind of hoping we might break ground and maybe it might be a through the winter project, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
But the contracts are all signed by the town and by the, so we're locked in. And we have the money and,
Stuff I ordered. Good.
yeah, and then as far as our I&I camera work, they're almost done. They just completed all of Main Street from Yale Hill all the way down to the Old Town offices yesterday and today. And there's a couple little spots in Glendale they need to button up, and they should be done with the field work. And then he'll put a report together for us, and it'll be results and condition of pipe and.
Were there any red flags at all?
Nothing major water intake wise. There's a lot of like sags and grease buildup and root places and stuff like that, but not yet.
That's sort of discouraging. Well, we saw a crack or.
Well, there's cracks. I mean, I'm sure there's integrity of the pipe and things like that, but he hasn't called me with any alarming reports of flooding pouring in.
Gusher at
Yeah,
29.
Yeah.
we're looking for that gusher.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of groundwater.
No,
No, it's a dry
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
I guess it tries. Is it going over the boards?
Yep, the beavers are doing their thing to keep it from going over, but it's definitely higher than the boards. They just keep packing mud over the top, so,
We did get over 6 inches of rain last month.
yeah, almost 7.
Yeah, that was a wonderful thing. Wow, just a great thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. The Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship.
So we've been doing a lot of work getting organized with the watershed plan, and Roxanne is doing a great job. We've had 2 meetings, both of them going over several hours. And, we're doing this plan as the EPA requires. And we're doing this annual evaluation, and we're trying to get our ducks in a row regarding ongoing management. So basically, we came out with a statement about making sure that, and we're calling this Lake Mackinac, by the way. That seems to be the way we want to address the Stockbridge Bowl. And so in a changing environment, we have to continue having good communication. We're getting opinions from experts, limnologists, biologists, and our job is to provide information to the residents of Stockbridge. We're obviously getting input from all the various stakeholders, and we are looking at things germane to this body about phosphorus loading from septic, sedimentation, which is another big. We're worried about the prevention of cyanobacteria blooms, which of course we didn't have this summer, thank God. And we're working closely with GCA regarding scheduling the implementation of getting rid of the sedimentation. So we're talking about harvesting, and we're talking about dredging. Nothing has been solidly made. We were behind the fact that we had an issue with the harvester, so we are going to have to postpone it. But a couple of things that were identified that we think we should consider is how to keep the water clear, and of course, stormwater improvement, phase 3. We're working on salt, sewer expansion to be determined, as this body knows best, getting the highway department involved. And so our job is to continue monitoring the health of the lake and report anything that we find.
Is there any progress or plan of what they want to do next summer?
This is exactly what we're doing. We're trying to get the harvester going and the dredging is probably going to happen next summer.
The dredging?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And, yeah, that's the most expensive one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Tony, Mike, any
Think I'm good.
concerns? Mike?
We had our, the other special article I forgot to mention was the meter reading equipment. We had our training today and yesterday, the girls here in the collector's office that do our billing, they had training. We had the training on the new tablet that we read with. And then once we did a read, we went out and read, we drove around for maybe, it was less than 10 minutes and we read over 200 meters.
Really?
And we went back and everything with the cloud, it just loads into the cloud and it's on your computer when you go back. And when you hit a Wi-Fi signal, it just uploads everything to the cloud. And it's very handy because we can actually see it at the plant now. We can't do anything with billing or mess around with anything, but we can see usages. We can do the leak reports ourselves. We can see all that stuff, which is great. So much nicer with the tablet. We have a screen and every meter, Google Maps takes where the meter is somehow and gives it a spot on the map, latitude and longitude. And so all the meters that we have that are actually, there's an address with them. So that takes and puts it on the map. And as we read them, they just disappear off the map. So we can see which ones we got. And there's a list checking off on the side of it's really, really nice.
It's advanced.
Yeah.
I remember when I was first on the board, everybody house to house. And if they weren't there, you left a note.
Left a card.
Yeah, left a card.
We had the postcards.
Yeah, and that was just the meter. I mean, that wasn't even an outside reader. I mean, that was just, go down cellar and.
We were talking about that today.
I first started a big program my first year was we were doing the outside readers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Putting those out.
and actually, that was a big deal, outside
was.
reader.
Well, it helped. It saved a lot of time.
It did,
Yeah.
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 I think I found one of those in my dirt the other day. Shoveling some, it's still about this big, right?
Yeah. 2-inch square.
Yeah, 2-inch square, right?
We did all our PFOA testing for the reservoir, and we had very, very low results. So we have a reduced monitoring plan. The DEP sent that. So we're only testing, I think it's once a year now. We had to do 4 quarters of testing. It might even, I can't remember. It might even be once every other year. It's definitely way reduced. Today, our 4-inch that I sent you guys an email, I don't know if you saw it yet, but the electrical contractor that we use, where the main power comes into the water plant. Remember, I think last year the main LB broke from the frost and you could see the 3-phase 480 volt power feed wires, right? You could put your hand in there.
Not good.
So the National Grid came and disconnected the power for water and wastewater plants. Were down running on generator for, I don't know, 4 hours probably or something. 5 hours.
5 hours.
And they got it all fixed and repaired, and you'll see the email if you haven't seen it. I sent one today with a few pictures.
What made it crack? What?
Frost, I believe, and it's all steel. It's all 4-inch heavy galvanized steel pipe, but the LB that goes into the building was cast aluminum, the weakest link in the whole thing, and it cracked it. And the last thing I have is the Swan House that was moved down on Cherry Hill Road. We did a water service tap for that. They're a new customer. We did that tap yesterday for Peter Whitehead and the Morris family there.
Signed the permit.
Yep. So we did that. Mark and I went over and tapped that yesterday morning, and
What do you have to do, move the water pipe there?
No, they were never a customer. The Swans always had their own water supply. They still have their own water supply. The houses that are left, I think Clovers and Nick Pack, and where the other gentleman lives there at the top of Cherry Hill Road.
I think even that red house across across the street?
It was, but that's been a water customer we put on when we did the water main years ago. Yeah,
Okay. How about the one down just past that red house in the field or down in the woods?
that's Clover's. That's still on the old water system, their old water system. Yeah, so, yeah, new customer, and they're doing they're gonna be there probably a couple of years. They're doing a lot of work there. They're building 2 other buildings and attaching them all,
I
and
went by there yesterday or something. It's obviously going to be.
there's gonna be quite a complex.
Progress.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good. That's a good project for sure. What about the standpipe in that Quiet Knoll, the roof? Wasn't the roof going to be redone? Remember you had somebody who was going to go up there and
They just, we did that months ago.
that was done, okay?
That little, he put some kind of epoxy seam sealer or something on all those little, where all the roof domes are. We did both tanks. We did those, boy, I think in June.
Yeah.
May or
I know
June.
that we appropriate some money for that.
Yeah.
Good, all right,
Yep.
that's done, great, all right. Denny,
Just came in to
should add coffee.
thank you for your attention to water. Years ago, when I canoed up through the Berkshires, I remembered that the people who knew more about water than anybody were the people, in the mills and at the treatment plants along our river here. The rest of us were just kind of winging it. And I've had a long-term interest in water, as you know. I wanted to ask, are you in tune with the recent study that I see has turned up on Pfoa Bog? And do any of our guys keep an eye on what's going on up there?
Was it Pfoa Bog?
Yeah, I know it sounds like conservation, but Pfoa Bog it's an area of critical environmental concern that sits up on the top of the hill. We all know where it is. We probably fished it when we were kids or whatever.
It's changed since we were a kid,
Yeah,
definitely changed.
it's a strange place. It's just like the one under Monument Mountain is a strange place. I mean, you got plants growing there that you don't see anywhere else. And that's all because of it's a calcareous seep fen, which means that the water comes down over calcium-rich rock, which buffers the water against acid rain. And that's what allows pitcher plants and weird other plants and animals to grow in both of those places. And it interests me because it's one of the indications of what's called the Stockbridge marble, which is the basement layer, which runs through up, under Stockbridge and keeps going north to the Vermont border and farther north. And of course, it's the basement layer for the Stockbridge Bowl and for the town reservoir, Lake Averitt. And I think the board might be interested in some of the work that's been done by the Housatonic River Initiative in their opposition to the EPA landfill in the Lane Sand Quarry over there on the east side of the Housatonic. Because that's also sited on top of Stockbridge marble. And anyway, I just hope that the board keeps an eye on that and that we might eventually, we may learn, there may be new information coming up about how water moves through that marble and which might have implications for how we
We
manage.
talked about that we talked about, the watershed. I just don't think that the Compusa Bog is part of the watershed that I know about.
Not ours.
I may have,
It's not part of the town watershed, of course.
or of the lake watershed of our Stockbridge Bowl or Averick Lake. I don't think, I think it's downstream from it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So I just don't know whether we've studied it enough. You make good points. I mean, it is part of our natural, benefit.
it's a parallel system.
It's a parallel system and.
What you're saying, and
Yeah, and deserves our attention is what you're
yeah,
saying.
but there is work being done in those parallel areas,
Yeah.
which we might, at least keep an eye on. In
Yeah,
case
yeah.
It might inform us. That's one point. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, because of my concern with the river, and I am the founder of the Housatonic River Initiative back in 1991, are we testing or do municipal sewer systems test what goes out into the river?
Oh, for sure. Tony?
Every day.
And do you test for POPs, persistent organic, whatever they are?
Not that I'm,
PFOs,
What are they?
PFOs.
Yeah.
Polyphenols, the organic plastics.
Yeah.
PFAS.
so recently, in the last 6 months, we were issued a new permit. Recently, in the last 6 months, you want to come up?
Thank you.
Don't have to yell?
I mean, I'll be able to hear better.
Yeah, that would work. The EPA has issued like 65 wastewater treatment plants with a new general permit this year. And PFAS testing is part of it. And it's brand new to most plants that just got re-permitted. But EPA is in their infancy with the guidelines as to how it's going to be tested and how long, and the increments in between testing. So it's coming up this spring.
Okay.
But it has not happened in Stockbridge yet, anyway.
Right.
I know Mike tests the drinking water for it.
Drinking water, we've already tested a year for it.
Spoke about
I just spoke about that, yeah. We've already done PFAS.
That's that. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's upcoming, but we do 4 times a year, we do quality analysis of it's called whole effluent toxicity testing, where we test the strength of the wastewater, the strength of the Housatonic River 10 feet above the outfall.
Yeah.
And they do what's called a fathead minnow test, where they put 12 minnows in a pail of each, and for 24 hours, and they none of them can die. And, we have a greater than 100% rate of that, so.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What about PCBs?
I don't test for PCBs.
Do they ever test for PCBs?
In wastewater?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Right, okay, all right. I was thinking it might,
Maybe somewhere, but not here.
yeah, but you're not aware of, it might be, what I'm looking for is ways of
Tracking it or something?
tracking,
Where they're going?
yeah, where they're going, where they're coming from.
Right.
And a growing awareness that there may be health implications ongoing that in our communities, which
Yeah.
we don't know about, yeah. That's a very excellent and generous answer, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the PFAS is coming up. I think it's going to be the third and fourth quarter this year. I'm sorry, the first and second quarter of 23, I think is.
And this is the one that they had trouble with in groundwater in Pondington, Vermont? or-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
Right.
Yeah.
Falls in the orange.
yeah, Hoosick Falls, right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so drinking water, the state is, we've already been done, we've been through our first year.
Yeah.
We already did a year of testing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's PFAS, they're non-directional. So, I mean, they just don't sink, but they can travel laterally and vertically as well. So,
The limit that the Mass DEP put on and the EPA put on for drinking water was a 20 micrograms per liter, and we were below it too. That's why we got our reduced monitoring. And there's like
having no industry.
PFOAs, the PFOAs, there's a laundry list of polyfluoroalkyl. I
Whatever,
mean,
yeah, it
there's
says
like
poly.
so many different names. It all starts with poly
Yeah, right.
F, and there's all these, it's like, it's confusing.
Like plastic from plastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the scourge of humanity, the plastics that we've made, yeah.
It drives me crazy seeing everyone plastic bottles. Must be filling up the compactors. Okay, Michael, do you have anything that you'd like to bring forth for us? How is a new person working out at the highway department?
The person's working out well at the highway department.
Good.
Nothing, I will probably be asking soon to come before you guys to discuss the sewer water reserves and how it works. So we need to, but that's for a future meeting.
Okay. And is there paving going to be done this fall, Mike? I thought that he was going to do some road paving, but I don't think that's
Not happening, right?
not
He's
happening.
doing some skin coat paving on a couple areas, and then we're gonna be going out for full paving for first thing in the spring. We're developing that plan right now.
I've been reading where the Parks and Rec they're going to finish up the town beach next spring.
Yes.
Are they gonna pave that?
No,
No, I don't
no, they're going to do I think they're going to do the beach area,
Yeah.
which needs doing, but
And some new wooden guardrails.
you know, guardrails, it's, what a wonderful job that,
Yeah,
I can't say enough
they
about
did a
that.
nice job, the highway guys.
Beautiful, what a difference. Very nice.
Yeah, that's one of the concerns we have to Stockbridge Bowl is that all that runoff, you have nothing that absorbs the water. So it's be good to have absorbing stuff around the pond rather than having paved.
More impervious
Yeah.
surfaces.
Surfaces,
yeah.
Reduce that.
Yes, for sure.
That's not healthy.
No. Okay, Peter, anything?
Nothing.
All right, someone want to make a motion, we adjourn?
Let's adjourn.
So moved.
So move.
Thank you, everyone.